The Long Trail is a trail that runs from the southern border of Vermont to the Canadian border of Vermont. It's over 270 miles. I completed a through hike of it in 2016 during the month of September. What you're going to see that follows are my pictures and videos along with recordings of my daily journal notes.
View from Prospect Rock of Manchester and Mount Equinox. Beautiful. This is the summit of Bromley Mountain. This is Little Rock Pond. That's Homer Stone Mountain you're seeing on the other side. Very pretty little pond. a view from White Rocks, a little further over on the cliff. This is a beautiful area, amazing alpine trees. Smells wonderful up here, all pine trees. Trail. Saw a couple red squirrels yesterday. They wanted to check me out too. Pretty cool. Here's a view looking straight down White Rocks. You can see how steep it is. I got my boot in the picture there. We're up about 3,000 feet.
Day 7, September 9th. Lost Pond Shelter to Greenwall Shelter. Journal notes. Arrived at Greenwall Shelter, which was supposed to be dry and only had a little over a quart of water left, and was very thirsty. I was so excited to find water about 50 yards down the ravine, which must have resulted from last night's rain. I drank a quart and now have 3.5 quarts, and also took a bird bath. Third night in a row by myself. For breakfast today, I had a cup of tea, ibuprofen. Lunch, I had one ibuprofen. Dinner, I had teriyaki noodles and rice. That was delicious. Inside or outside of kneecaps hurt early in the day. Though the kneecaps have been hurting for the last 2 or 3 days. Today, once I got hiking, I felt fine. I have a bad blister on the inside of my left heel and blisters on both pinky toes. Sore left shoulder and achy back. My feet hurt.
This may be the top of the world right here. I'm up on top of Killington Peak, just as the sun's getting ready to go down. Staying at Cooper Lodge, 2/10 of a mile down. Got no windows, it's gonna be cold. This is looking down towards the inn at the Long Trail, coming down from Pico. Gonna have the night off. 6 miles today, have the night off at the inn at the Long Trail. Gonna have lunch there and dinner and breakfast. This is the view from the top of the Middlebury Snowball ski lift. Hopefully this comes out. A little haze out there. Here's a beautiful morning view. Hiked over those mountains yesterday. Stayed at a shelter. Hiked a couple miles up here to this peak. Nice view that way. Halfway through the trip, a little over halfway, met a guy last night. He was southbound, had started the same day as I had, and we met within 2 miles of the midpoint. So it was pretty cool. We celebrated. All right, this is day 13. About 2 o'clock, had my butler this morning, Mick, made me a cup of coffee and had a couple granola bars. It's 2 o'clock. I'm stopping for lunch. Gonna have a bagel with peanut butter and jelly, probably down about 10 miles. And this is the best day yet, so I'm gonna hike till sunset today. But beautiful view here. Nice mountain in the distance. And time for lunch. Bye. View from Sunset Ridge, Endless Mountains. Hello.
How are you?
Good. How are you guys doing?
Wow, doesn't get much better than this.
You're right about that. All right. 5:30 on top of Mount Abram. It's like just 360, all mountains. You can see it behind me. Been hiking since 8 this morning. I'm done 14 miles probably. I've got 2 more to go to get to a tent platform on top of the mountain. And that'll end my day. But it's been a great one. This climb up Mount Abram, boy, I'm glad I was coming up it. It's very steep. I wouldn't want to go down it southbound. It was tough. Anyway, that's it. Over and out.
Day 14, Friday, September 16th. Emily Proctor sheltered a tent platform on Lincoln Peak. Journal notes. This was my best hiking day yet. Hiked around 14 miles. Physically, I'm feeling stronger. The low humidity today probably made a big difference regarding my stamina. Mount Abram was a very steep climb from the hotel shelter up. I did take a video at the top, and after the video, a hawk flew within 10 feet of me. I had the summit all to myself as it was late in the day and the sun was going down. Later, I hiked on. I slept on the tent platform on Lincoln Peak. However, the winds were whipping and the temp was in the 30s. There were no stars. I spent the night cocooned in my mummy bag. My stove didn't work, so I had only cheese crackers for dinner. Uncomfortable night, just got through it and slept poorly. A bird visit on the cold platform at sunup in the morning improved my spirit and got me going.
No, I don't know if I'd like, I don't have, I mean, I have bacon a little bit, I mean, not really, I don't know. I mean, just to.
Say hi.
Hi. Hello. Safe travels, safe trails, happy trails to you.
I'm at Thru-hiking shelter. That out there on the horizon is Camel's Hump. I am going to be climbing that tomorrow. I got about 8 more miles to go today, and then tomorrow it'll be up and over that. It's supposed to be raining. That sounds terrible, but that's the target. This is the summit of Baker Peak. I got a mile yet to go down to Glen Ellen Lodge. I'll be staying at that shelter tonight. I can't do Camel's Hump today. I've done maybe 8 miles today, and I'm by the end of this, and I'm beat. It's been up and down at my limit. There you go.
Day 16, Sunday, September 18th. Birch Glen Camp to Montclair Glen Lodge. Journal notes. A trail angel fed us this morning and took our trash. I had a cup of OJ and strawberries. Got an early start. It was very humid. Plus, it had rained last night. Burnt Rock Mountain was very difficult, up and down. I had to rappel at one point, used a ladder a couple times, slid on my butt in a couple sections just to get down the rock. Stayed at Montclair Glen Lodge for the night. Enclosed shelter with bear warnings and bear box. While reading before going to sleep, a mouse crossed the table within the view of my lantern light and walked onto my backpack. I snapped a finger and looked at it, and it took off. Hopefully it won't decide to return to see if there's anything that it might want to chew on, such as my backpack. Second night in a row with rain, the rocks and trails very slippery.
Well, this is the gorgeous view from the top of Camel's Hump. There's a wonderful caretaker there. He was endless.
Day 17, Monday, September 19th. Left from Montclair Glen Lodge this morning. This was the hike over Camel's Hump. It was very dangerous as it had been raining last night and the night before. So all the rocks were wet and we were scrambling on them all day long. I had to take my pack off and lift it ahead a couple times. Had to set down and slide a few times. It was very humid also. I fell twice, once on my wrist and once I stretched my left hip. Thankfully, no injury resulted. Saw Stella and Joe several times today, and they even waited for me to come through in a couple dangerous sections because I am the slowest hiker, but we definitely had to keep an eye out for each other today.
This is called Harrington's Views. I earned this one. I've been walking uphill for 6 miles today. Got 3 more miles uphill to the top of Bolton Mountain, and then 3 downhill. That'll be the end of my day. Drinking a lot of water. It's really humid. This is beautiful, though. There's a ski resort back there. I don't know what that one is.
Day 18, Tuesday, September 20th. 1 mile past the Winooski River to Taylor Lodge. I tented up a mile from the river near the only stream between the river and Buchanan Shelter last night. The hike to Buchanan was long and uphill, very high humidity. I ran near empty on my water supply, and then I had a 3/10 of a side trail to the shelter, which was tedious, but I did drink 1.5 quarts of water and left fully resupplied on water. I had lunch and freed a bird that was trapped in the shelter and wanted to fly out the closed and screened upper windows. Had to catch it and release it out the door. That was the highlight of my day. Puffer would have been the shelter to stay at. I had kept hiking, though, past 4:45, and it got very dark, and I fell twice. I was just too tired and walking too late with little to no light.
This is a view of Mount Mansfield. It's 10 miles away. I got 3 more miles to do down steep today to get to Taylor Lodge. I got to get there so I can get over Mount Mansfield tomorrow. That'd be a 9-mile day for me going up and over Mansfield. But I'd love to stay here. I'm at Puffer Shelter, and this is the view from the shelter. Incredible. Gotta move on, though. It's getting late. Well, here I am at the summit of the forehead of Mount Mansfield. Beautiful view up here. It was a crazy climb up. Had to pass over this thing called the Eye of the Needle. Don't want to do that again. Got a lot to go up here yet. Rest of the mountain top to get down. Well, here we are. This is Taft Lodge. I made it up and over Mount Mansfield, and that was a scary hike. I am not going to hike that again. There's a road that goes to the top. If I come here again, I'm going to take that road to the top. But I got a few more miles to go today. Get down to the river. So just going to water here and then head out. Here we are at the top of Madonna Peak. It's a ski area. What we're looking at there is Mount Mansfield that I came over yesterday. That's the full mountain. Had to go way down. Spent 5 hours mostly climbing to get up here. It's a beautiful view. That's the warming hut on top. If I was here in the evening, I could stay in it. They've got it open. But I got like 5 more miles today, if possible. It's a little after 1. That's it. Last look at Mount Mansfield there. Here's the view from Whiteface Shelter. That's Madonna Peak right there. Came over that this afternoon, and then you can see Mount Mansfield. That's the forehead. No, that's the nose. You can see there, and then you come on over, and that's the chin. You can see on the other side of that ridge. I decided not to go on. I was pretty tired, and it was 3:30 when I got here. It's 4 more miles to the next shelter. I didn't think I could make that before sunset. So I've got a 7-mile hike tomorrow to get to the road to go into Johnson for my resupply, and then 3 miles out to the shelter. Looks like I'm going to be running another day behind.
Day 21, Friday, September 23rd. It rained all night and was still raining in the morning. I had to try to make miles to get my resupply in Johnson, even though it meant hiking in the rain over Whiteface Mountain. I set out just after 8 a.m. and climbed up steeply and down through rock slides that had become a river over Whiteface Mountain. It was 40 degrees and the rain was 40 degrees. My toes were sloshing in my boots. I was too wet and cold to stop, and 2.5 hours later, I arrived 3.4 miles up the trail at Bear Hollow Shelter. I drank some water and had a peanut bar and hiked on the next 4.5 miles to the highway, where I then hiked 2.5 miles to get to Johnson. I arrived at the PO at 3:30, an hour before they closed. Got my resupply and charged my phone, called to confirm my rides from the end of the trail, then went to the grocery. It cost me at the gas station 18 cents to fill my tank up.
This is a rock wall. fence. You see these every so often. Must have been like between property lines. This one really, really tall. It's about 2.5, 3 feet tall. Can you imagine all the work someone put in stacking those stones up? Can't imagine the hours spent. I don't know if it means these fields were farmed or if that was big enough. I don't think you could keep animals in with a fence that high. Must have been a property line between where they were farming. Here's the view from top of Laraway Mountain. I'm 35 miles from the Canadian border. Met a guy and his kids coming up here, and I talked to them, and he congratulated me again, but 35 miles a ways to go. There's 2 miles to get up this mountain. I think it took me at least an hour and a half. Gonna have a little snack. Got 10 more miles to go today. It's noon. I'm gonna be hiking right till sunset. It's beautiful though, isn't it? Can you hear the crow? This is the summit of Belvedere Mountain. There's a fire tower. Going to go up it in a few minutes. About 2.5 mile walk up here. Pretty good climb. Some windmills off there in the distance. A lot of people out today. 2 more days and I'm at Canada.
Day 23, Sunday, September 25th. Spruce Ledge Camp to Tillotson Camp. Journal notes. After 2 days of hiking in wet socks and wet boots, I woke up with a sore throat. So I hiked with bread bags on my feet today. Wet socks over the bread bags and then into wet boots. My feet felt better. They were cold but not wet. I made it to Tillotson Camp, which has a great view after hiking over Mount Belvedere. In the shelter with a couple southbounders, Crusher and Heavy D. Heavy D gave me an extra pair of gloves that he found in his pack. I put them on, and within 5 minutes, I told him I was already in love with them. Couldn't eat dinner tonight. Still not feeling that well. Day 25, Tuesday, September 27th. J Camp to the Canadian border. Still wearing bags on my feet between my skin and damp socks. The humidity is so high that nothing dries out at night, and now that the night temperature is in the 30s with the daytime temp in the 50s, damp hiking socks and damp clothes make life very difficult. I sleep at night with all of my extra clothes on, cocooned in my mummy bag. The trails are muddy with big puddles, which take a lot of strategy to avoid falling into. Wet rocks, wet roots make for difficult hiking throughout the day. It's been this way for several days. Almost always have to concentrate on the placement of every single footstep.
Here we are on the summit of J Peak, last big mountain. 10 more miles to the Canadian border. We got a late start today, but gonna make it. It rained all last night, but it's beautiful today. So expect to be at the border at dark. Here's the Canadian border. The sun is just setting. I just made it. End of day 24. It's been exhausting. This has been the most physically and mentally demanding 24 days of my life. I am completely done and wasted. I got a half a mile to get to the last camp. I'm looking forward to returning to society. It's been a challenge. It's beautiful though. Look at this beautiful sunset. I've had probably 6 of the last 7 days where I've hiked from sunrise to sunset. It sounds beautiful, but it's a lot. All right.
Day 25, part 2. I made it to the border at sunset, and I walked to Journey's Inn camp in the very last twilight of the day. I feel so relieved to have completed the entire thru-hike. I'm by myself in the shelter for the last night on the trail. I celebrated tonight with the last giant chocolate chunk cookie after an Annie's macaroni and cheddar cheese dinner with some Vermont cheddar added to create a gourmet trail meal. It's raining again tonight. This is a cup of coffee, and this is a blueberry granola bar. I traded a peanut butter granola bar for it. I'm tired of peanut butter. These are delicious. This is my new favorite granola bar and coffee. Final breakfast.
This right here is the same backpack that I hiked the Appalachian Trail in 94 with, the Long Trail in 95, and now the Long Trail in 2016. Same gear. Only thing different this year, new boots, couple new water bottles, New clothes. New flip-flops. Same hiking stick for all hikes too. The old gear lasts. Probably got another hike in it too. I took pictures and videos on this hike, mainly so as time passes and you forget things, I figure I look back at them, and even if I don't remember, they will bring the memories back to me. Yeah. You know? That's the thing from the 90s, I forgot a lot of stuff about hiking, about the experiences, and I didn't have photographs to recall. But this stuff allows you to do that. Are they like a public agency though? And they come and take care of the animals? So impressive to see that mountain range. I think if I lived in Vermont, I'd just do a lot of this, driving around looking at the mountains. Yeah, that one's a big one.
Pretty soon we'll have equinox on that side of the street. The trail, of course, is on the left.
What, Equinox? Is that?
That is not equinox. The next one.
It's a big mountain now, huh? Only a southbound AT Thru-hiker. And where I encountered him, he was really cruising. He was like doing like a 2-mile-an-hour pace up the mountain, and had his earbuds in, was listening to music. And I stepped off to the side as much as I could, and he just chugged right on around me, right on the curve. But right then he went under a tree branch, and the tree branch hit the guitarist from the strings. And I was just like, and I stuck my hand out and grabbed the back of his backpack to keep him from falling backwards, and kind of pushed him forwards. And he just went on, and I don't think it damaged his guitar, but I kind of thought it was a little bit nuts that he didn't slow down a little more just to protect his guitar, be a little more careful, you know. But he didn't have a cover over it. These are the boots that I hiked the long trail with this year in 2016. They're Merrell's. They're waterproof. These are the boots that I hiked the long trail with in 1995. Also Merrell's. They're all leather, you can see. They've recently had new soles put on them, new Vibram soles by the local cobbler. They're still great boots. They're heavier. Treat them with snow seal, and the leather holds up forever. Great boots, but I went with the lighter pair. These are a bit lighter. Also, as I mentioned, waterproof, which is great if you're walking through a grassy area or something that's wet. But if you're on a trail all day and it's raining and the trail becomes like a stream, basically they will fill up with water. There's nowhere for the water to go. But what are you going to do? Definitely would recommend Merrell's. They're my hiking boot of preference. They'll get you to wherever you're going.
skunk straddling the border.
Skunk production. All rights reserved. Goodbye.